the moment, tonight is the night. We'll fight till it's over, so we put our hands up like a ceiling can.
Hey, welcome back to the show. We are the Basilica Brothers at Irish Touchdown. I'm Ted, and as you can tell, I don't have Matt here today with us. Unfortunately, he had to take his daughter to a doctor's appointment and then go to work, and I've got to go to work once he gets home, so you've just got Ted, so buckle up. You never know what I'm going to say. Today, we've got a great show, so get ready to take some mental notes where we're breaking down Notre Dame versus Pitt and all of the things that come with that, to include some dumb moves by their coach, and we'll even discuss the Navy game prior. So, if you're wondering why Ted's wearing the sunglasses indoors and why is he's looking so good, well, it's simply because Notre Dame's going down to Pitt for game day, where ABC is going to be hosting Notre Dame at noon. We've got a nooner game. Not my favorite time slot, but it's what we got. So Notre Dame is coming to Pitt as the favorite, 11.5, and the over-under is 55.5, which I think Notre Dame is going to be doing the bulk share of that, where you'll see that in my projection as well. So noon game looks like it's going to be a heavily favored Notre Dame team, where I don't see much of a difference from the Navy game, and probably very similar to the USC game. And if you're ready, let's jump into it. All right. So first thing I'd like to break down is the Narduzzi flop. And if you remember as a kid, the TV show Jackass, where kids were getting kicked in the groin for no reason, I like to call this section the Nards kick, where Narduzzi kicked himself in the crotch somehow with his statement to the press, where he said he'd gladly lose to Notre Dame 110-10 because it's not an ACC matchup. And I get what he's trying to say. He's trying to say that this really isn't going to affect how he gets to the playoffs, because he still has a route as long as he wins out and beats the ACC conference, which really isn't going to happen anyways, because he's got to play Miami and then he's got to beat Georgia Tech. And those aren't happening, and he's definitely not beating Notre Dame because he just admitted to it. So the 7-2 Pittsburgh Panthers are going to be the 7-5 going home Pittsburgh Panthers. So Narduzzi, we will gladly put 110 points on you and walk away. And thank you for the ranked win, and probably the last ranked win we'll have this season. Playoff rankings. Speaking of playoff and rankings, Notre Dame's slotted at the number 9 spot this week, which is one spot from last week in the right direction. And I think as SEC starts to eat themselves, I think we might slip to 8 here shortly. And if I can get my Christmas wish, we'll move to 7. I think 7 is probably the limit. There aren't enough teams really to eat themselves, and there's too many good teams in front of us. So maybe 7 at the very best. I think 8 is a good probability, as long as we handle our business against Pitt, who's just not that good, and then we've got Syracuse, who's flopping, and Stanford, that's just never showed up. So I think we got a chance at 8, which would be a great spot versus where we're at a 9, because we'd be able to host a home game 2 years in a row, and as we know, that worked out pretty well for us last year. So playoff rankings are looking good. The Navy win, let's throw this up here, look like I'm a little professional. The Navy win was pretty well in the hand as CJ was passing it deep on those cornerbacks, and then Love caught a little bubble pass over the defensive line, and that really opened up the running game. He had over 100 yards. I think it was like 110 yards in total, but he was averaging 7.2 yards per carry. So he was just dominant, and another game to bolster his Heisman possibilities. There's a lot more talk now that he hasn't gone away, and he's looked so dominant against some pretty decent teams like USC. CJ, a highlight, CJ was never touched. He never had a defensive player ever touch his uniform, and he certainly never touched the ground, which is just amazing. And I would put that on our offensive line probably had him by 50 pounds. Obviously Navy's going to fight their tail off and try and get to the quarterback the entire game. But when you're giving up 50 pounds and probably a decent amount of talent level, you're just, as we see, just not going to win. So, and that comparison will be made with Pitt here shortly. So, looking at Pitt's defense, they're number 3 in the run defense, but we got to be real about this. All right, Uncle Ted's here to tell you what's real and what's not. And what's real? Sure, they're number 3. They allow 80. I think it was 80.9 yards a game. Okay, that's fantastic. You're in the ACC, 1. And 2, you so far have played the 6 worst teams in your conference. We got Syracuse, North Carolina State, Stanford, Florida State, Boston College, West Virginia. They are all the bottom of the ACC. And let's be fair, ACC is not that great. So your stats are padded. You played the worst teams, and you beat the worst teams. Great. You played Louisville, middle of the road ACC team. You got beat. You're set to play Miami, who's also a pretty decent team. You're going to get beat. You're set to play Georgia Tech, who's number 1 in your conference. You're going to get beat. You're going to be a 7-5 team. You're always going to be a 7-5 team. And I wish the media would stop pumping you guys up to give you this false sense of accomplishment, because you haven't done anything. Whereas Notre Dame is, I think they're 20 yards more per game. But if you look at the Football Power Index, Notre Dame is 5th in their competition, where Pitt, might as well be Boston College, where Pitt is 33rd. Their competition isn't that good. So, sure, I mean, you might as well play Division II and call yourself the champions there. It's just not a fair comparison to say, oh, I'm 3rd. Well, you beat Stanford. We're going to beat Stanford too. I'm not going to brag about it. And you've played teams that I don't even know how to say this name. DeQuissany? I don't know is that a school? Somehow they're in the ACC. DeQuissany. Okay. And you play a team that is Central Michigan. That's not a powerhouse. You didn't play USC. You didn't play Miami. You're going to, and we're going to see how that goes. And you're going to play Georgia Tech. And again, you're going to be exposed. It's just a fact. But we'll do our diligence. We're going to break down Pitt. So the key player that we need to watch out for on Pitt, obviously, is the quarterback, Mason Heinzel. Sounds like something you put on a hot dog, really. And he's a true freshman with 5 games under his belt. He's thrown quite a few games of 300 or plus, which is, again, great. Again, not against good teams. And they don't have a running game. So Notre Dame's just going to pin their ears back, put the pressure on, play man defense, and walk away with 2 to 3 interceptions and 4 or 5 sacks. Your run game is going to be your quarterback running for his life again. And the QB is obviously somebody, but the running back, Desmond Reed, he's coming off an ankle injury. They say he's healthy. He is definitely their star on the offense. As far as running, he's the number 2 running back behind the quarterback, and he's the number 1 wide receiver as the running back. So he's coming out of the backfield, grabbing some passes. and getting the yardage that obviously they can't get from a running back. And then basically Desmond is their Jordan Faison. He's small, he's very light, and he's quick. So keeping the quarterback in front of us, keeping him in the pocket, and then manning that running back with somebody who's got some speed. I think after that, their offense is done. Flipping to the defense, the man that we probably need to double team, not so much because of size, and I guess it would be because of speed, is number 44, Jimmy Scott. Number 44, he doesn't have all that of great statistics, but he's leading the team in QB hurries, where he has 9, and the rest of the team, I think, has 9. So he's definitely the guy that's getting past people. He's got 4 sacks, which I think is leading the team as well, which is what isn't that high of a number, but he's definitely the focal point of their pressure. There's been a lot of media hype on the linebackers, talking about how great they are. Well, if you've got a defensive line that really isn't stopping anybody, of course your linebackers are going to have a lot of stats. They've got a lot of tackles. They don't have a lot of tackles for loss, and they certainly don't have any sacks. And then pushing back to their corners and their safeties, they don't really have any interceptions. So it's kind of, they hope that you score so that they can score, and they hope that they get lucky and you don't. So that's kind of what they've been doing. It's not a winning model, but fortunately, of the 7 wins, 6 came from the bottom barrel, essentially. So it's not anything to be concerned with. I would like to talk the QB comparison. I'd love to give some love to CJ Carr. Just comparing Heinzel to CJ. CJ's average QB rating is 276, where Heinzel's is 250. 176 to 150. Where Heinzel's highest was 174, where CJ's was 290. So there's a huge disparity on quality of play and consistency of play. Even though they're both freshmen, CJ is clearly head and shoulders above what Pitt's got. And it's also on top of CJ's able to hand it off to Jeremiah Love and Jay Price, that they can easily take it to the house. As one announcer said, he's going to take it to Ja House, which I really hope that guy retires that saying, because that was an embarrassment. Heichel's got 1,500 yards, where CJ's got 2,300. Again, it would be higher if CJ didn't have Jeremiah Love to hand the ball off to. And he would probably have quite a few more touchdowns, where he's got 19 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, where Pitt's got 12 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. So Pitt's got no run game and not that great a touchdown ratio to interception. Notre Dame's got a great running game and a high touchdown to interception ratio. So again, more statistics that prove and show that this isn't going to be close. The 11.5 is a joke. If I could bet it, I would bet it. It's definitely going to be the over, and it's definitely going to be more than 11.5. And the last note I'd like to have is the last time that Notre Dame ran for less than 100 yards, which that's what Pitt's going to try and do. They average 80. The last time Notre Dame did that was against Miami, where it was CJ Carr's first game, not putting people in the right protections and getting into the right plays, and the coaches didn't really know what they had with CJ. And Miami has multiple defensive linemen that are over 300 pounds. Pitt has none of those. Pitt has 270, 275 pounders who don't get any pressure. Much like the Navy team that they were 265, 270. They didn't get any pressure either. So I don't see CJ stressing anything, and I don't see Love having to make back cuts to find a hole. I think the hole is going to be obvious, and people like Gerby Lambert are going to find some linebackers to pancake. That's my favorite thing for breakfast. So there would be a lot of pancakes out there on Saturday. I think Notre Dame is going to be feasting on the running game, and when they try and load the box, CJ is going to throw some bombs, much like they did the last few weeks. So again, not a close game. We do have some people to watch out for, like Reed and Jimmy Scott, and obviously their quarterback who likes to think he's a runner, but when you meet somebody like a Don Schuler who's just willing to throw his whole body at you and try and put you on the sidelines, that's going to end quickly. So, all right, to my prediction. And I've kind of put this together with my thoughts, my little investigation into the game. I did speak to Matt about some of the notes that I've given you. So it's kind of like Matt was here in spirit. And then I talked to my dad and tried to kind of gain some of his wisdom, as he's watched Notre Dame since the 50s, I guess. He's so old. Sorry, Dad. So I'm going to go, it's somewhere between 38 and 45. So we'll just go in the middle and say, I don't know, 41? I don't know how you get to 41, but maybe we'll miss an extra point, which is not off the table. So we'll go 41-17 Notre Dame, where it'll be in the hand for a while, but I think NC State will probably only get to 17 because it'll be a late touchdown that Notre Dame just kind of tries to run the clock out. So Notre Dame 41, Pitt 17. Notre Dame continues their streak, and hopefully they move to number 8. Pitt will lose their first game of 3, where they will go 7-5 here shortly. And we can stop talking about Pitt and the ACC, and on to the next game. So, as again, we're the Basilica Brothers. Unfortunately, one of 2 Basilica Brothers at Irish Touchdown. If you like what you saw, leave us a comment, like and subscribe. Go ahead and throw us some love. If you got any questions, or if you want to hear some other stuff that you're interested in, go ahead and shoot us a comment. We'll gladly change up anything that you're interested in for next game. And as always, go Irish.